Hey, hello, long time coming. How are you doing?
I am great. We're starting off the new year with new projects, new goals, new focus, new
Awesome,
brand.
awesome. Well, that's exciting, and I'm really happy to have you on finally. We've been trying to make this work. You're in a different time zone, but then there's a will, there is a way. So, as you know, this is the One Self podcast, and we're here talking about where wellness meets purpose, inspiring you to grow intentionally and elevate your brand, life, and business. So, I want to know, Shanae, or is that how I pronounce it?
It's Shanae, yeah.
Shanae. Um, Unique and beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to know your professional background. Like, how did your journey start?
Um, well, when we're talking about my brand, I actually started doing Reiki healings by distance. And then from there, I studied under a master from India. At the time, I couldn't afford to pay him. So he agreed to let me do healings for him as payment. And it actually worked out pretty well.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And then from there, from Reiki, you diversified into something magnetic and creative. And I can't wait to
It's
hear more about it.
Yeah, it's actually wild. So I went from Reiki healings to tarot readings, oracle readings, energy readings, and then that branched off into rough stones.
Hmm.
Rough stones turned into polished stones, and then I started working with like handmade jewelry, and then later on, long story short, resin. And resin ended up being pretty cool. I'm still working with that today, and
Cool.
I still paint.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. So, what inspired you now to start this business? Because you've had this creative talent, you were doing Reiki healings and learning from different people, but then also now doing it for people. So, what was the next step? Like, what was that aha moment that you're like, okay, I think it's time. I think it's time to make this a business. When was that moment? Like, what inspired you now?
Um, so strange story. It didn't start on Facebook. It started on eBay. I used to sell videos. Let's keep it PG. But I sold very interesting videos on eBay that I would flip for a cheap amount, and it wasn't like I set an amount. I set like a 99-cent auction, and it went up from there. And then I went antiquing and found like this hair glaze,
Mhm.
and I got a pretty good deal on it, sold those, and it went on from there. I wanted to be in business for myself.
Of course,
I
yeah.
find that in the corporate market, people celebrate me for my individuality. And then later, they also restrict me and suffocate me for my individuality. It goes from, oh my gosh, you're a breath of fresh air, to you're asking too many questions. You have an attitude. You hired me for that attitude.
Yes.
Fusion. So I wanted the free reins to be my own boss, but
Mhm.
also help people. So that's why I started first with Reiki healings.
Love that.
I didn't just give
It
people.
diversifies for you. Like it's like okay, part of your healing is your crafts, your arts. What you like to do. Like for me, it's like writing poetry. Like when I'm stressed out or I need a moment where I need to like okay connect to my spirit, connect to my nature. Like right now, I'm sitting outside in grass. Like there's a big tree, in the back of me. I don't know if you see it, but like there's a big old tree. You know.
I used to have one that I would just sit out at and under and meditate and hug and just like transmute my energy, because I had so much going on at the time, with my grandmother being ill, different family shifts, things like that. So I
Mhm.
totally get it. It's necessary and so beautiful.
Yes, just being in nature. Sometimes when we're indoors and we're working on our computer, we're not taking that break, and then we just kind of start spiraling because I can't even say it right now. Spiraling. It's like, did I drink water? Did I eat something? Was I just super focused? Like we all go through that as owners, and I think you got to take that time for your inner self, your inner healing, and just like managing your time efficiently, because sometimes time just goes and you don't realize, like, man, it's already 4 o'clock, or you know. And I don't know how you do it all. You are a multipreneur. You've got several things on your plate. So I
Yeah.
admire that you're able to juggle that and stay focused. That's huge, you know.
I think that part of it is channeling my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot sit still, and I decided instead of just being nervous, I would take and, make things and paint, write poetry, as you've mentioned. I published a poetry book last year,
Congrats.
the end of last year. Um, and then from there, like, making things is so therapeutic.
It is.
It's not
It
just giving people like unique jewelry, it's me doing something therapeutic.
Yes, absolutely. And for me, I know art is what you make of it, and like for some people it's stand-up comedy, for other people it's building things. And I was never a painter by any means. Like I could draw stick figures, basic stuff, trace. But then one day my friend invited me to wine and paint, and I thought, okay, maybe the wine's gonna help me out here, you know. But actually, I enjoyed it so much that I, when people say let's go to wine and paint, and I'm like, yes, let's go. And it's like interesting how we're drawing the same thing, but the colors that we put on and the expression of our art changes with person to person. And it's beautiful and it's relaxing and it's something that I normally would have not done, but now I do. And even simple things like my niece wanted to go do pottery and paint on these things that are already made, like clay pots. And that was so relaxing. You don't even feel like the 2 hours went by, you know? It
Yeah,
was
you don't. You're like, where'd the time go? But also, what am I going to do with all these things that I just created?
Yes, it's
Um,
so fun. So fun. But you are monetizing that, which is amazing. And it's something that you enjoy doing, which, I love that about you, that you have these ideas that you put into action and now you have this platform to put it
the challenge is that sales wax and wane, and it also depends on the market out
on.
there. Like, for example, with the things going on in the US, if there's like a war or drama going on, people usually hold back from sales. But if it's pretty good and there's no strain on our finances and the economy, then people are spending like crazy. People are, looking for extra gifts for their grandkids, things
Yeah,
like that, or birthday gifts that are unique. And that's where I come in.
exactly.
Um,
And the thoughtfulness of having something that's created by you, it's so different. Because I think nowadays, like, when was the last time we like sent a birthday card in the mail, or a letter in the mail, or even just a package in the mail? Like, you know, it's different nowadays.
yeah, I've talked to friends who are also in the selling their handcrafts business, the artisan business, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I hate shipping." And I'm like, "What do you mean? It's like wrapping a gift
It
every
is.
time."
It is.
I don't know. I enjoy it. I'm weird.
That's good
I
because you I apologize for the light. The sun is definitely shining in Arizona.
It's beautiful over there.
It's like
I miss it.
sun-kissed eyes on me. Just kidding. But you know what I mean. It's great that you have that talent to want to make these curated things for people, and something that's unique to each person who gets it. So it sparks joy for them when they get it from you.
Um, Yeah, I think the one goal with each business that I opened and worked on is to not be like everybody else. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get your inspiration from others naturally, but
Mhm.
I don't want to be like everyone else. Otherwise, I might as well sign in for a 9 to 5 and just leave it at that.
Absolutely.
Um,
I completely agree. My next question is, how did your early experiences shape the direction of your business today?
so my early experiences. When I was looking for wholesale crystals, when I was looking for crystals in general, what I
Mhm.
found was they were way out of my budget.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I've seen them, girl. Have you been to the in Tucson? They have this big gem show, and I was surprised to see how big and gigantic some of these things were. And I looked at the price, and I was like, "What? They're selling for thousands some of these things." And I was like, "Wow." So I can only imagine when you're starting a business, now you have to buy bulk of something. Wow.
yeah.
So anyways, continue.
So I would have sellers who sold to me, but they marked it up and told me it was wholesale. And when I figured that out, I was like, okay, wait a minute, full stop. I am going to make it a point to find my own wholesale companies to go to and cut out the middleman. I got tired of spending hundreds of dollars on things that literally didn't cost me that much as a business owner with a EIN and paying taxes, things like that.
Mhm.
So I found them. And from there, I tried to make as good of a deal, like pass that on to my customers as possible,
Mhm.
um, within reason. Like, I don't
Yes.
want to cut out other sellers to the point where they can't make money. I don't want to make it that type of cutthroat environment,
Yes.
because I feel that we all have space to grow and sell and make a profit.
Mhm.
Um, I don't feel like it has to be me or you or me. It's
Absolutely.
let's collaborate. That's what we adults do.
Of course, of course. And you know what? Like you can't do it alone. There's so many people that they start and they want to keep everything in house because they think, okay, if I hire out marketing, if I hire out, a designer, it's going to be less for me. But at the end of the day, when you show up a little different and more professional, like even in your website, even in your social media, even in the little things that you don't think are little things, it shows because now people see you in a professional light, and your systems matter if you're reaching back out to people. All those things matter, and that's why there's professionals for those things, so you can focus on what's important and what else you want to do that's you know beneficial for your business to grow. um that's what I found, because there's always going to be challenges, like what would you say is the challenge did you face when you entered your industry, and how did you overcome them?
The first challenge I faced was coming in as a new person that others did not know of, and making new friends in a market that I wasn't used to. As I said before, I sold on eBay. So I had to go in, make new friends, um, make new sales, post things in a certain way where online customers are very view focused, so they're visual. So
Yes.
you have to take like almost perfect pictures. Back then I had an Android, and so everything was blurry, but yeah, I had an Android and it wasn't the best of pictures, but I had amazing people come and support me and just surround me in positivity. From there, I was able to grow.
Mhm.
So my challenges would have been like no one knowing about me. Um, Other people kind of upset that I was growing,
Mhm.
other sellers upset that I was growing, and just having to deal with the drama of that and moving on.
Horrible.
To
It's horrible.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
make friends
trying to
with
do
people.
your own thing, but then there's always these naysayers and these things that come in your way. But it's about like how are you overcoming now that thing? And you did because you pivoted and you grew from it, and you're like, okay, what can I do better? Okay, that's a challenge, but now it's about getting back from here and saying, okay, let me learn something different so that I don't have that challenge.
Because setbacks don't end with a period. It's always the semicolon. There is an after. So yes, I had to cry it out. Yes, there were some times I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, all I had to do was keep going and forgive those people, move on with my life, and just not feed into the drama.
Um,
I
and
could have posted I could have posted several times about drama that happened, and I decided not to because I felt that maybe they had a bad day, maybe they had something going on, or maybe they misunderstood me. There have been many times where I've just been misunderstood on what I was doing. So,
it happens. It happens, and that's part of life. There's never gonna be a perfect moment. Like even for us, like we're in different time zones, and I was like, oh no, like it's 2:30, but it's at 4:30, and it's like, oh man, and technology fails us sometimes, but it's okay when it's meant to happen. Things happen, and if the person's understanding on the other end, it makes it work. And
even better.
yes, yes. And then like even COVID, like COVID impacted so many businesses where some of them failed, some of them kept going. And the ones that kept going are where we are now. You and I also had to weather the storm of COVID. So when that happened to you, what impact professionally or personally? Like, and what lessons did you learn as a business owner? having to navigate now? And
I relied solely on Facebook sales during that time. And so I had joined popular groups, posted on my profile, utilized the marketplace, and even branched out to platforms like Mercari. Eventually, I started to learn how to post on TikTok, etc. But
Mhm.
during COVID, I lost half of my customers.
Oh
So
no.
from there, I had to pivot and kind of figure out where am I going to post? Also deal with the fallout of losing friends because my customers weren't just customers. I wasn't just like, hey, this is what I have for sale. I actually
Mhm.
talked to them about their day. And so it was a hard truth and hard pill to swallow
Mhm.
to hear that someone I cared about passed away.
Absolutely.
Um, so I had to pivot, figure out which apps to go to,
Mhm.
with the TikTok ban that had happened
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right. Yes.
shortly after that.
Mhm. So
um, I figured out like people are still using TikTok. I don't know if there's, buying, but it's a
mhm.
way to get yourself out there. And then they developed what's called Lemonade.
Mhm.
So I went on to Lemonade. I found out recently about Tito. So I'm on there now. And my main page that I sell on is Bonanza. Um, so I looked around and I was like, okay,
Because e-commerce is its own animal, girl. I feel like it's always changing. I feel like, what might work for some person might not work for the other. Like Facebook Marketplace keeps changing. Shopify adds on different things. Merchant services changes, QR codes, all these new things that you have to keep developing as you grow. And so that's good that you kept pivoting and you kept saying, okay, let's try this avenue. Let's see what works. Let's see where the customers are coming from. And you do the research and you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, wait. And some of these platforms, they charge you to be a member even.
so with Tito, I almost didn't sign up because there is a membership that you can pay for, but I found out you can actually sell on there for free.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let's just jump in. For that one, I did not do research. I did the research as like, is it popular? Are people actually making sales? Is it a healthy place for me to post? Is there support for handmade artists?
Mhm.
And there was.
Mhm. Yes, so that's great. So thank you for sharing about those platforms. And for anybody that needs help with e-commerce, I mean, she's your girl. She'll be able to walk you through, set you up, graphics. I mean, she's got it all in her company, which I love that. And and you can tell them why do you choose this over this, and help them through that. And that's the best part of being a business owner. Is like not only can you do the job, but you can also help navigate for other people and grow them as well through the process. Um, so how many years have you been in business, and how has your brand evolved over time?
I've been in business for myself since 2010.
Wow.
And over that time, I've went from different brands. So I started out as Five Phoenix Trade Winds. From there, I evolved into Mystic Cavern, which was a partnership. And then La Petite Samarus. And then what I found was it wasn't just about doing metaphysical services like Reiki, setting of lights, things like that. It was about reaching beyond that. And my dream was to become this big marketplace, which eventually will evolve into a place where artisans, crystal sellers, and everybody can come and sell and have it be a healthy environment. Am I
Yeah.
there yet? No, but
It takes time. It takes time. You've been at it for what, 15 years now? 2016. But you know what? Your time has been so valuable. You've grown. You've been through partnership, no partnership. It's all part of the, like, relationships kind of go through roller coasters sometimes. Sometimes business does. But it's the ones that stay resilient to who they are and their brand, and they enjoy what they do, that stay alive. And I always think of stories like KFC, Walmart. Look at where they are now. But it's because they had something, they developed, they grew, they had different fallouts, they had to keep changing, keep money going, keep marketing going. But look where they are today. So that's the same with you. It's like you've kept going, and your aha moment is on the way. You just don't know when that's going to be.
it definitely is. And I think that how my businesses evolved is I went from crystals and healing to the most natural thing that is all around us that most people love,
Mhm.
plants.
Yeah.
Like right here, the Monstera albo. I just got in today. I'm giving it some TLC, and I find that even while I'm waiting for them to sell, um, I get to take care of them, and I
That's so
find joy in that.
I love that. I love that. So I think that we answered this question. What was one of the hardest pivots you've had to make as a business owner?
Whew. Um, One of the hardest pivots that I had to make was COVID, I think.
Mhm.
There's been a few pivots over this time, and that's included not having access to marketplaces that I used to, losing half of my customers.
I know
And
that was
what I
hard.
found, what I found was best was to take a good look at what I needed to offload. So I
Mhm.
would do closeout sales. I would do connections. I've donated $5,000 worth of crystals to a lady that was just starting in crystals, just to
Wow.
bless her. And that's not a humble brag. That's me saying,
Friend, you have a big heart.
yeah, not a humble brag. It's just me saying, you know what? I need to offload. I had accumulated so many crystals that
Mhm.
I literally could not walk. Like my husband will attest to this. I literally had so many boxes of crystals, there was no walking room.
Oh,
And so I had to take a look and be like, okay, it's time. And so I would fill out the crystals, and eventually I offloaded like 10 boxes of
wow.
crystals to someone.
That's crazy. But you know what? I'm sure she felt very blessed, and you must have felt the energy of like just letting go. You know, there's energy and also letting go. You know, you feel like okay, like the weight has kind of lifted off of you. Um, but yeah. So what keeps you going when things feel overwhelming or uncertain?
My So I do crash and burn, believe it or not. I crash and burn sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, this is too much. Maybe I can't do this. But what turns me around is looking at what I'm doing and why.
Yes.
I have goals that I will not speak about on social media that I aim to hit.
Yes.
And so when I look at that, I look at my stock that I have, my inventory, my handmade jewelry, and I look at the reviews people leave. My husband reminding me, hey, you got this. You have beautiful items. They're unique. Just
Mhm.
all of
I love
that together. Remembering the love and the positivity when I'm feeling my lowest. Cry it out, but keep going.
keep going. That's true. That is so true. Because sometimes we can get in our head, in our heart, and be like, we haven't vocalized what we want, so we haven't let it out in the universe, you know. And so I think sometimes we have to hold ourselves in our heart and say like, is this really what I want? Do I want to take this step? Does it, if it bothers me that much, is it time to let this idea or thing go? Like you have to be one with yourself before you can even try to attract or do the things that you want to do, you know. And I kind of want to know a little bit more, like in terms of like, if you had to give that advice now to somebody, a motivational tip or advice that you would like to share with entrepreneurs or creatives, like what would that be?
So for me, it would be love what you do. Because in those hard moments when you have to figure out how you truly feel about your business, where you need to pivot, you need to love what you're doing.
Correct.
And when we're in business for ourselves, we make the shot
Mm-hmm.
calls. We are able to say, okay, enough is enough on this thing. I'm going to lean into that thing. I'm going to connect that thing. Or maybe I'm going to add something else to my business. Um, if you love what you do, don't listen to negative advice. Find a way for your business to work, even when you have to add a new branch of items or services to do what you offer. And if you have to do the dreaded thing, for those of us who have businesses that are our passions, do it, breathe, and refocus. My friends taught me that.
100%. And that's pretty much like sums it up what success looks like for you now. Like you refocus and you restart and you're not afraid to do it. And you know, from when you started, you were pivoting then too. You know, and that's amazing because you know there's so many people that would have been like, oh no, this is not working, scratch it, let's just do something else. And you said no, there's a bigger picture. You know, so I'm sure success means something very different to you now than then.
Yeah, and I would say, just piggybacking off what you said, when it feels like I have to pivot and it feels like that all is lost moment, you have to realize eventually there's a light at the end of the tunnel, or you can turn on a flashlight and light it up yourself.
Amen.
Um,
True that. True
it,
that.
and I really recommend meditation. Whether you are Christian, Muslim, whatever religion you are, meditation will help you to pretty much balance yourself and get your mind, clear. And what success looks like for me is having more time with my husband, a family that we may be working on, and just to make memories. It's not all monetary.
It's
Would I
not.
like, would I like to replace any 9 to 5 I'm working? Yes. That's the ultimate goal. Replace my 9 to 5, free my time, do more things that I love. Like I love logo creation, book covers. I really love it. And all of my logos were created by myself.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, the inspiration behind that was just when I would hire people to make them, they just couldn't do what I was envisioning. So I was like, okay, well, let me see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out. And I
Me,
truly,
and I do that too. I'm always learning new things, and I know it's just like I don't need to learn these things. Like right now, I'm teaching myself a little bit more about AI and how to use it right, and how it's where it can be efficient. And because there's people that say, "Oh, you can just do everything on it," and I'm like, "No, some of these things require brain power. You can't just trust the AI world with everything, you know. So you have to
yeah,
be able to pivot and know how to use it, when to use it, and if it's going to benefit her. You know,
yeah,
everyone's
that's why I'm seeking certification, not just cloud computing, but AI, and machine learning and LLM. Um, because I don't want to just use it like everybody else does and ask it silly questions. I want to really utilize it to free up
here.
time in my business, but
Mhm.
also maximize my creativity.
Yep, exactly, exactly. So, where can people follow you to connect and support what you're doing?
So I am Persephone XV Triple I on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Tito, Lemonade, pretty much almost anywhere that you look, I'm there. But
Awesome.
my main focus is Tito and Bonanza.
Perfect, perfect. And is there anything else you'd like to share before we end our live today?
Don't be
Maybe,
afraid.
maybe you can say something inspirational, like what inspires you daily. That would be a good one.
For me, it's jump. I've always heard this motivational speech and I watch it all of the time, especially when I'm feeling low. Don't be afraid to jump, and try new things, because you never know what turns into a passion and also turns into the business that you do for the rest of your life as a career. And don't be afraid to do so well that you might fail a little bit, because when it comes to archery, you have to pull back
That's
to
true.
let the arrow fly forward.
I love
So,
that. I've never heard that little analogy. That's so true. It's like that pull back, and like it's funny that you said about meditation because just today I had a client that talked to me and she was like, you know how what I do one thing at a time, and she's like, I've learned that you can have a million things on your plate, but if you don't focus on getting that one thing done, it's like you've not done anything, you know. So
do
she's
the hard thing first and then the easy stuff.
that's true.
You
That's true.
knock it out way quicker.
And sometimes when you meditate too and you just slow down your brain and you're just like in your zen, you can be more focused on the task that you need to do.
That's why I recommend meditation, because when you clear your head first, then everything becomes more clear, including what you're going to do for the day, the first thing you should do, the last thing you should do, or you
Mhm.
just feel it out. You just know.
You just that is so true. So please follow her business. It's right here. You want to say it first? Yeah.
It's it's Persephone XV Triple I. So XVIII, plants, botanicals, fashion, art, and literature. And I am on Bonanza, and you can also find me on Tito.
Awesome, awesome. So guys, if you want to see the replay to learn a little bit more about what she's talking about, you can follow her page, but you can also see the replay at oneselfconsulting.com on Facebook and on YouTube. And I'm going to leave you guys with my quote, which is take one step today that your future self will thank you for. So thank you so much for being on. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for teaching our audience something new that they never knew before.
Thank you for having me, and I hope to be on again.
Yes, anytime, anytime. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, guys.
You,
Thanks for being on.
bye, guys.